Hello and welcome back to Aston Martin and F1 Manager 2022. We're here in Baku. I do apologise for the slightly anticlimactic Monaco Grand Prix last time out. That sells going back and watching it if you haven't done so already. The link will be below if you do want to see how it panned out. I mean, admittedly, at least Vettel was somewhat promising. Stroll inching himself closer to that chopping block. Let's put it that way. But it's Baku today, and it's a track that sort of plays into our hands and largely doesn't. The important thing to look at here, though, is those slow section corners, which we are not awful in. No part of our car is in the top half of the grid, but slow corners is the bit that we're nearest to average in. And we'll have 2 upgrades by the time we turn up at this track. The first of which is here. So these take 8 days. Plan, we'll emergency 1 side pod, and then we'll build 1 as standard. And hope they don't crash. Screw it. I'm emergencying a second one. Okay, so we've emergency 2 side pods, and then we're going to build the rest normally, not rushed. I wonder how many spares are sensible here. 4 spares overall. And because we've completed that, we'll actually focus on next year's car. Keep performing as well as possible during races, keep meeting the board's objectives, and keep an eye on your finances, and confidence will only grow. I would expect a good result in your board review in 2 months. You know what? I appreciate this message. A lot of management games don't tell you things are going wrong or alert you things are going wrong until it's too late. That's a nice thing to have, because I imagine if things aren't going as well, you get a, be warned. There is the completion of the helipad as well to its maximum level, so we get the maximum payout now from sponsors. And here's the important news. Both scouting reports have come back in, and both drivers only have 6 months left on their contract, which means breaking either of them out of their contract. So Gasly is open to negotiation, and Albon is obviously open to negotiation as well. We've got decisions to make. His current contract is 6 million a year, whereas Pierre's is actually, I was expecting more from Pierre there, 7 million a year. So to get another driver in is going to cost a lot more than it currently does. Because Stroll's salary is only 3 million actually, so monthly salary will double. So it'll be effectively costing, well, double or almost triple in Pierre's case. We can afford it per month, but we're not going to break it until Canada. We are going to give Lance Stroll his home race and then effectively just leave him there. Chassis is in as well. This will have to be emergency. Again, surprisingly not expensive. We'll emergency 3 of those just to make sure we have a spare one for all things going forward. And then build 3 as normal. Right, I am out of the way this time so you can see comparisons. Side pods first. Change. What? Why is the comparison slowing them down regardless? That seems weird. That seems barely an improvement. That's weird. And then adding the new chassis. Improves engine cooling actually quite significantly, but the rest of it's actually annoyingly not that much better. Those upgrades have literally not changed our rank in anything. Except maybe engine cooling at the bottom there. Perhaps we shouldn't get too excited for Baku. Right then, so I'm just going to run with the same targets as last time. Q2 finished position 15th, and that's already locked in the streak one from previously. And of course with the mandatory ones as well.
Hello from Baku, where we're looking forward to a weekend of racing among the medieval and the modern. Here at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, drivers will be battling it out on the streets of the Baku city circuit, a real contradiction of a track. From the long main straight, where the less drag the better, to the tight turns where downforce is a necessity. Teams are going to have to work hard to get that balance right. The weekend begins here.
Alright, so as always, practice you won't see. I will return for qualifying for the video. Right then, so practice 3 involved Lance Stroll crashing. Thanks, Lance. Good job we built spares. Seb seems to be okay pace-wise-ish. Perez had an odd one. So despite crashing, he did still get 100% on the track. Setup's 100% regardless. I'll swap over so you can see everything clearly. It's 15 out of 15, even with 92 parts. Obviously, no reason to change anything.
Green light.
It's a long lap, and I'm marginally concerned that people are going to come out. Stroll's going to be... Why is Stroll... Why don't I need to change anything for Stroll? I guess it just automatically replaces everything. So we've seen a lot of Baku already, but it does look gorgeous, particularly at this time of day, seemingly. Nice little shift between sunny and shady parts. No one's come out of the pits yet. I'm concerned. Oh, look at that sunshine. Don't you bloody dare. 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 No. Nobody. Nobody. Stroll's got past Sonoda, who did come out in front of him on this flying lap, so I am marginally concerned that he's been compromised. Vettel at least came out in a gap. He's got Hamilton and Guan Yu Zhou ahead of him and Verstappen behind him. But of course, they're on outlap, so I think Zhou will go slow. And Vettel is catching Zhou at the worst possible place. We've been done dirty there, but actually Zhou might get out of the way in a sensible position there. That's quite nice. That was the most organic traffic overtake in the qualifying I've ever seen. Hamilton, however, just straight up in the way. Oh well, 1 out of 2 ain't bad. The good news is we'll get in their way. Tit for tat and all that. Can't harm Vettel too much because he's still done a better middle sector than Stroll. 145.7 from Stroll. It's a 145.4 from Vettel. And now we hold up everyone who held us up. Mwahaha, mwahaha, mwahaha. We really did hold them up, Zhou and Hamilton. Look at that. I've just noticed a potential bug. Stroll, because he crashed in Q3 on a set of soft tyres, which is this one with 0%. Inexplicably, they've sent another set of soft tyres back to Pirelli instead of the hard tyre that's available in practice. So Stroll has 2 sets of hards left and 2 sets of mediums and only 1 set of softs. He's not getting out of Q2, doesn't really matter, but a Q1, I should say. He never does. Right, so this is a 1 minute 40 laps, so that's about what, 3.5 minutes? I'm just gonna get him out in the sort of the back of the pack, I think. If I make sure I send them out when a faster car is going past, we should be okay here. Oh, the pit lane's the other way, isn't it? I can see a Red Bull, I can see a McLaren. Where are we actually coming out here? There. We are behind an Alpine of Alonso and ahead of a Mercedes or Vettel. Stroll is ahead of a Ferrari, which might cause problems. And behind... I can't see what he's behind. Is it the other Alpine? No, the other Alpine's up front. AlphaTauri. Quick question. Is the Merc that Vettel went out ahead of is Hamilton, who was already compromised on his first lap because of us? He marginally compromised us in that same lap. But yes, we could accidentally compromise Hamilton twice and have him out in Q1. Leclerc was compromised clearly in his first run as well, I now notice. As everyone sort of rounds this lap, still on 1 times, the Williams, safely bottom. Leclerc, Hamilton, I expect them to go faster. Zhou, I'm expecting to go faster at this point as well. Ocon probably should go faster than us, although Alonso did a comparative time. Vettel might actually be competitive. I don't know who's faster than Vettel here. I don't know who's compromised. I think Mick and Danny Rick are being compromised because the Haas is quite fast now. We'll get on board with Vettel and his oddly blurry car at the moment. Apologies for that. That's not me. That's in the game. It's a very long straight course, so he's not even over the start line just yet. And away we go. First left-hander into the second 90-degree turn onto the what becomes the second DRS straight of this circuit. It's actually the better straight for overtaking on because then you can't be challenged back again. But a couple more right-handers, a 90-degreeers, I should say. I always say right-handers instead of right-anglers. Probably because right-angler isn't a word. But onto the side that provided lovely glitches in F1 22. That's been fixed, thankfully. Towards the castle section, Vettel has gone faster in his first sector. Stroll has not, somehow. Gasly and Tsunoda have put in really good laps first time around. They're 5th and 8th. So being behind the AlphaTauri, Stroll should be alright. Rears are hot. He's struggling with tyres though, somehow. Down towards Sector 3. Sector 3, I think, is actually basically just the straight. I think the line is sort of here-ish. But he's got a better Sector 2 as well, has Vettel. So he's improving on his time. Ocon does go faster. Mick Schumacher does go faster. Zhou does go faster. Latifi's crossed the line, obviously 19th. Norris went way faster. Okay. That's alarming. Danny Rick is slower than Norris normally. And he stays 16th. Vettel goes faster overall, but doesn't change position. 14th he remains. Tsunoda has not crossed the line, but Tsunoda was ahead of Stroll, and now he's way back. I think Tsunoda was compromised. I think Tsunoda had an off. Oh no, Gasly was the AlphaTauri ahead of Stroll, it seems. Tsunoda was second last out, and Tsunoda does go faster. I got excited there, and then crushing disappointment. So who did we sandwich? Was it Danny Rick again? Yes, it's Danny Rick who ended up behind us. Sebastian Vettel, half a second faster than Stroll and Danny Rick, and still didn't get out. That seems harsh. The Haas not as fast as I thought. I mean, Lando's put in a blinder there, I think. That must be the ultimate pace of that McLaren because he's a full second faster than Daniel Ricciardo. The Alpines are relatively close together. Yuki Tsunoda and Gasly are separated by a hefty amount too. As is Zhou and... Bottas is stupid. Bottas, I mean, there's a second one between Bottas and Zhou as well, but that's more understandable in terms of personnel. Even so, it's a bit ridiculous, isn't it?
Time for the final touches here on the grid ahead of today's race.
And the sun is shining bright here today. This is perfect weather for teams and drivers alike.
Well, whatever happens, it's sure to be a tremendous race day here at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix.
Right then, let's have a look at strategy. So, 3 options: medium hard, soft hard, medium hard soft. Let's see what they are comparison to each other wise. The third one is apparently 60 seconds longer, which I understand because that's basically the pit stop length. Soft hard for Sebastian Vettel, medium hard for Lance Stroll, just because Sebastian Vettel is better on his tyres than Lance, so he can probably get away with that a little bit better. And also, of course, Seb's first, so Stroll holding up Danny Rick a little bit off the start might be beneficial too. I have also remembered to set the driver options.
It's sunny and bright as the drivers line up on the grid. There's Sebastian Vettel. Slower than most yesterday, so today they'll be starting from the bottom half of the grid. There's Lance Stroll, down the grid. They're starting in the bottom half of the grid today, so there's a lot of cars between them and the podium. The teams are ready to go. Here we go with the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
So, no need to change the settings off the off this time. Let's see if anyone can get anything done. Sebastian Vettel has been overtaken by Lance Stroll despite being on better tyres. Oh dear. That's not gone splendidly. I can't tell Lance to give the place back now, can I? Good lord. Latifi got Danny Rick. Daniel, are you alright there? Same tyres as well. Albon's got Danny Rick as well. He's on better tyres though this time. Sebastian Vettel around the outside of Lance Stroll into that corner. Curious decision. Lance, get out of the way. You're ruining Seb's race. Although Seb is actually not getting Tsunoda. Stroll's not getting Tsunoda, I should say. Everyone stopped here. But Stroll will have the inside and has got Tsunoda. Out of the castle section, Seb can line up Tsunoda. Why is Stroll doing well? This is slightly confusing to me. Right, Sebastian, get him. You had trouble getting past Tsunoda in Monaco. Get him easily this time. The Williams is remarkably still ahead of Daniel Ricciardo. To position himself on the outside of the AlphaTauri onto the main straight, that might compromise Tsunoda's run, and very much compromise Tsunoda's run, actually. Mick has fallen 2 seconds off Ocon. I don't know what's happened there. Lovely move from Seb. Right, there we go. And we're back. Right. Okay, so lap 2 begins with our cars line astern. I can't instruct them not to fight at this point, because that would be foolish. But Lance is very much ruining Seb's race here. I need Stroll to make his own progress and Seb to follow through and then let him through. But I think Lance might have Mick Schumacher. He's on the outside going into the right-hander, which will give him the position as they go into the left-hander. In fact, he's already ahead. As Vettel now lines up Mick Schumacher. Not quite. Obviously nothing going into the castle section. That would be ludicrous. We'll watch on board with Sebastian Vettel now, as Stroll did go onto the back of Ocon in the meantime too. Where will Sebastian make his move on young Mick? With Mick with an alarming defensive manoeuvre there. Very much almost opened the door for Vettel to do this. And he's ahead before they even get on the straight. DRS activated at the end of this lap. They have no ERS left, which is awkward. So DRS will be active when they get round to corner 2. I can see Stroll on the back of Ocon ahead, actually having a go at him. Vettel needs to get in DRS range in these couple of corners. In fact, Stroll might have the run on Ocon out of there. Remarkably, Lance Stroll is up to 13th. In what will be Lance Stroll's penultimate race, he's given me doubts. Lance, why? Lance, why? Oh, Mick Schumacher got Vettel again because he didn't get far enough out of the way. Ocon's making a move here again, but Lance has the inside, and he just yields for no reason. But Lance has got the run. He's still pushing hard on everything, though, which we probably can't allow for too much longer.
Drop back a bit.
There's another yield there from Stroll, which seemed a bit odd. I imagine I've ruined the tyres more than anyone else at this stage. I have. Oh, Bottas already had worse tyres. Oh yeah, none of the strategies began with a hard tyre, so it's hard to tell who's doing option C at this point. But there's a nice split of soft and medium runners today. DRS will activate. up here. Mick Schumacher did get Vettel back, but then did get in DRS of Stroll. So we now have the chain all the way back to Tsunoda, who barely clung on there. Stroll, are you all right, buddy? You're losing time in the DRS train. How have you managed that? Hoping harvesting won't be a problem here. We'll see. It says Ocon is a second behind Zhou. He's right behind him. You might as well be inside his gearbox. That seems wrong. Ocon plus 1.2. The two vehicles are basically bumper to bumper. How is he plus 1.3? Oh god. Stop harvesting, Lance. Stop harvesting. You're going to fall out. Lance might fall out of DRS range here if he's not careful. I think he has. But Ocon might glitch here. I'll be intrigued to see if Ocon gets DRS. Stroll won't, because he's going to be outside a second, because he's an imbecile. But, no, I'm the imbecile for harvesting, to be fair. Oh, it's reset. It reset his delta before the line, I think, for Ocon, so he might be alright here. But Mick's going to get Stroll now. Bye. I mean, you were doing a good job, but you did ruin Vettel's race off the line, so your fault. It's your fault if we don't get points. That's why you don't overtake before the main straight, or on the main straight. We're going to have to hope for an incident or something that pushes these cars back into us again, because we're going to be in a spot of bother as we fall back further and further back due to this fight with Mick now. Ricciardo's well and truly done, though, in this race, because he's 4 seconds off the back of Tsunoda. That McLaren is really not playing ball, is it? Again, Ocon, over a second in this sector. There's something going on, maybe in Azerbaijan, or maybe it's just specific to Ocon. I might as well just 100% harvest now, because he was barely holding on even without harvesting. Onto the main straight, let Mick go past again. I need to make sure Vettel doesn't lose Mick in the process, though. Go on, Vettel, get inside range before the line. Oh, he might have done it. Harvesting seems incredibly difficult at Baku for some reason. Oh dear, Mick didn't make the maneuver. We'll allow Stroll to deploy on this straight. Go on, Vettel. Oh, Tsunoda? Where the bloody hell did you come from?
Really?
I'm with you there, Vettel. I'm trying to surprise Mick Schumacher here. That's why we harvested, and now I want to bolt before the detection line. It's working. He's outside a second. It worked. Right then, next. Vettel looking in the back of Tsunoda now, inexplicably. We'll try and work out something to do here. End of the main straight, Tsunoda doesn't make any move at all. Did Mick get within a second of Stroll? No. Well, that's worked out wonderfully for Seb. I'll watch that replay when it comes through.
Take a look now.
Look at the opportunism from Sebastian Vettel here. Straight round the outside of both of them. That is deployment, and he's on the back of Stroll now as well. So if I can find reason, I need Sebastian to just overtake Lance normally. So don't deploy now, but I need Vettel to get Lance normally, because Vettel will have more pace. He'll be able to get on the back of Ocon maybe if they're going a bit slowly. Could be worth deploying to make sure Mick doesn't get in DRS of Vettel. Odd decision to weave there, Seb. But yes, Seb, get him. I'll sit in duck here. Seb, just go past him. Just go past him. Just, Sebastian, just go past. Just checking. No, it's fine. That's okay. You'll get him on this straight. There we go. How much time did Vettel lose just trying to get past Stroll there? Yeah, about a second. Mick actually fell out of DRS range of the pair of us in the process there, so that's worked out actually wonderfully. I think Vettel will drop Stroll here, which I don't really care about now. But Vettel, crucially, is catching the Norris-Zhou Ocon pack as predicted. As soon as I get him into the clear air, Vettel then flies off. Lance, we're going to have words about what you did at the beginning of this race. Look at the pace Vettel had if you hadn't gone past him at the beginning. He could be the head of this. Vettel got up to 9th on lap 2 in Spain. Monaco was a little bit more trickier, but he still got about 2 or 3 places on the first lap. Admittedly, Vettel is going to lose pace in this period where there's no DRS for him. But he still gained about a second overall on Ocon on this one lap. How worth it is it to push the tyres? Not really is the answer to that question. Oh, Mick got on the back of Stroll during all that. That's unfortunate. Oh well. Vettel could end up in a holding pattern here because he's about the same distance away from Ocon than he was the lap before. I might need him to attack for a couple of laps, get on the back, and then just be careful for a couple of laps. I can't do anything with ERS, sorry.
Copy.
It's probably worthwhile Stroll and Mick just fight for a bit, really. Tsunoda's not anywhere near yet. Vettel's got closer on that one lap by pushing. It's going to burn his tyres quite dramatically, but it's necessary. Go on, Vettel, get in the range, get in the range. Oh, we didn't quite get it on the main straight there. One more lap more of pushing than I didn't really want to do there. Right, having to push there has kind of ruined things a little bit. Got DRS there. Please get DRS again here, Seb. just about. We're pushing the pair of them this entire time. It's not great, but okay. So Sebastian Vettel conserving his tyres in this DRS train. There's no real point making a move just yet, I don't think. I'm gonna have to trade the tyres for ERS at some point. Just that compensation helps. Stroll and Mick and Tsunoda has actually joined them after all. Latifi's ahead of Albon on lap 19. Good for Latifi. He might go to calendar having beaten his teammate for once. The front actually looks quite tasty. There's a fight between Leclerc and Verstappen, and there's a fight between Sainz and Perez. The Red Bulls and the Ferraris in side-by-side fights. Then there's Bottas holding up the Mercedes. In fact, he's holding up Lewis for prime irony. Gasly's running by himself. Magnussen's kind of running by himself. Alonso is running by himself. Zhou's got Norris, Ocon, and Vettel behind him. And then we know about the rest already. It is only 4 seconds from Vettel to Alonso in 10th.
Yeah, it's insane how bad we are.
No, it's insane how bad you are, Stroll. It's insane how bad you are. Let's not use the royal we there, Lance, shall we? Good lord. Have some self-awareness, millennials. I can say that because I am one. Is there going to be an opportunity? Sebastian is the only soft runner in this pack. I thought there was way more soft runners than that. Oh, okay. Sebastian's going to have trouble soon. He just needs to stay in DRS at this point, I think. That's the only thing I can ask for. Norris is pitted. So Norris is doing the medium hard soft, which is 16 seconds slower. Well, that's going to gift us, isn't it? Well, McLaren sabotaging themselves there. He's come up behind his teammate. Now there's only 2 people in this train. This could get a little bit more tradey. Oh, Vettel's pit window is opened. That's what it has. Of course, there's a lot less laps, isn't there? Yeah, he's only 3 laps off his, but he's on 46%, so I don't want him to really go under the 40 for too long. There goes Ocon on Zhou, so indeed, this is going to become that little bit more tradey in terms of positions. In fact, Vettel nearly got Zhou there. Such was the differential. Okay, so Vettel now definitely in his pit window. Has lost, I think, the DRS. Yes, he has. So you might as well attack these tyres now. There's nothing left of these tyres that they can give you. Stroll has... Well, I think that means 4 more laps. Really? 4 more laps on those? Oh yeah, he's on 50%. I don't really want to go below 40 if he can. Bottas pitted and came up behind Vettel. Vettel's actually pushing even on 30%. He's got within a second of Zhou, sort of. On board with Vettel as he goes into the pits. Hamilton's just going out the other end as we go in. Bye, Lewis. Have fun for the rest of the race. As Stroll enters his pit window. 3 more laps for him. That was a lovely 2.7 pit stop. That's good for us. How's that do for us and Norris? Sorry, Norris is not 6 seconds ahead of us, right? Oh, right, no, sorry, we're within a second of Norris. We'll push on the outlap, even though Norris is sort of in our way here. We'll try and get some good laps in on these fresh tyres, and if we have to save them a little bit more towards the end with Vettel, then we can do. Because we've only got 3 laps before the medium runners pit. Norris is irrelevant, he has to pit again, because he's doing something stupid. So we need to clear Norris. I think Seb might try and make the move here, which is an odd place to do it. We've had tussles with Norris recently, haven't we? Flashbacks of Spain, as Norris breaks there with Vettel on his inside. Tyres might be getting a little bit warm, but you need to pummel them until you break Norris's DRS. We'll watch that one again. On the inside of Norris, as we get onto the main straight. Lovely work. Camera angle's a bit dodgy there. Norris will come back, of course. Vettel with a pit stop is now only 6 seconds behind Stroll. Stroll, you really ruined Lance. You really ruined Seb's race, didn't you? That's... Okay, the DRS is a bit too powerful. At least there's not really much of a fight involved with this. At least they just breeze past. I mean, Lando and Seb can help each other out here if they just keep swapping places in the DRS zones without actually really fighting each other. And indeed, we are closing up on Stroll regardless of that. Where is Stroll on the map? So yeah, he's just ahead of us. Is this his optimal pit lap? The one after this? Because if so, I'm going to make him push on it. So Seb following Lando, not actually getting close this lap, because he's harvesting. You might still get past him on the reverse side here. And Vettel does indeed get past Norris without really any problems on that reverse side, but we'll watch that because we didn't really see it. So Vettel getting past Norris again in the same way that Norris got past him last lap. No questions asked, no really hold-ups there. That's probably the best case scenario for everyone involved. If we just keep doing that lap after lap, we'll catch up. So some of the medium runners in the pits now. This is crucial. Please do not fight too much with Lando here, Seb. Let's get off Harvest for the time being, because we need to get ahead of some of these. Magnussen is out. Really, you're interrupting me there. So both ourselves and Norris have cleared Zhou Guanyu in those pit stops. We have undercut Zhou Guanyu. That was the entire point. Now Ocon, in fact, We've undercut Alonso to the point where we're in the DRS train with Alonso. Norris got past Vettel there in the process. We can stop pushing these tyres now as well.
Back a bit.
Now that the target has been achieved, we're not really getting past this lot. There's obviously another batch to come in, the other side of the pits for each of those teams. So Ocon will pit, Gasly probably pits at that point, Mick pits at that point, where there's now a new train involving here. This train would be great if Zhou Guanyu doesn't get in it. If we can keep a gap on Zhou Guanyu and he never gets into this DRS train with Alonso, that would be perfect. Oh dear, the tyres are getting warm. You're entering the pit, Lance. Context here. So yeah, Lance in the pit. Obviously all those drivers get past here. Mick's in the pit as well. We obviously well clear Mick at this point. I wonder if Mick will have to wait for us depending on when he releases. No, they've already released Mick. That's fine for them, I guess. But he'll come out. Where will he come out? 6 seconds behind Tsunoda. 6 seconds. Deploy. That's what we saved the battery for.
Okay.
All right, it might end up being a bit of a train for a bit here. Joey's going to get back in. Joey's going to get in this DRS train eventually. Not this lap, but he will do. Ocon's in the pits, and this is crucial for Sebastian Vettel. We appear to have cleared Ocon in the... We appear to have undercut Ocon. Ocon's just coming out of the pits now. He's going to end up behind Guan Yu Zhou. Zhou Guan Yu. Every time. I don't think Ocon's even in the DRS of Zhou Guan Yu, who's really lost us actually in the end. So Vettel is now, well, he's 10th because he's overtaking Norris right now. So Vettel is at least fighting for a point today. No other pit stops to be made by anyone else except for Norris, actually. We'll just spend the rest of this lap pushing Sebastian Vettel away from Lando Norris, hopefully. Get as far as away from Lando as we can, even if it does sacrifice a tiny bit of tyres and ERS, but that won't be had in hand anyway. There we go. 1.3 on Lando. Hopefully that can build lap by lap now, as he's only got Alonso for company, so they can fight between themselves hopefully from here on in. I'm really hoping Lando doesn't get back in range at any point here, but I'm not super confident. No one in the top 10 is in DRS range of anyone else. Genuinely don't think I've seen that so far in this game. There's a couple of down here, mixing Tsunodas and Alonso's in Norris. That is it. Oh, and Latifi and Albon's. There's only 3 people in the DRS of any other driver. I'm just hoping their squabbling will hopefully keep that maintained. I'm just looking at that 6-second gap of Magnussen to Vettel and just thinking, Lance. Really? Lance? I mean, look at the difference between Lance and Vettel right now. There's 16 seconds gap between them. And you held him off for 7 laps. Not directly held him off for 7 laps, but you were ahead of him for 7 laps, slowing everyone else behind you down. He's maintaining for now. Alonso's fighting Norris. Oh, they actually got Alonso in DRS range of Seb. That's marginally concerning. Oh, good God! Alonso just went straight on. I saw it in the background. That's got to be a safety car.
Here's the replay. Now watch this. Here's Alonso's car.
Just saw in the background as he got past. Yeah, just went straight on.
Definite collision there. Very unfortunate.
He might be able to continue on from there actually, but shouldn't be able to. But he might be able to, and has indeed been able to. Well, I don't think I need to deploy on Seb anymore because Norris is 1.4 behind, and now there's no one there's no DRS between him and another car to give someone that extra half a second or whatever that Alonso just got and cut the difference with. Oh, Alonso is really slow, obviously, in the remainder of this lap. Stroll is harvesting. Stroll, get into Alonso's... Alonso is going really slow. Get in the 1 second now. He's not going to get in Alonso's DRS range. That's a shame. That was an opportunity just to get an extra few seconds, but never mind. He's getting closer. No, he isn't. Alonso's out of that fight. Norris has to pit again, and Zhou's 2 seconds behind Norris. Vettel and 10th. I'm a little bit annoyed that only the McLarens are doing the medium hard soft, so we're not going to benefit from anyone else here. But it is what it is. There could be another accident. We don't know. Not a lot going here. Oh, Norris is... Hang on. Norris is getting closer again. It's because they're in DRS range of each other. We've had a problem because Norris and Zhou Guanyu are now in DRS range of each other, and now they're getting that same boost that Alonso had. 14 laps to go. I can't push Vettel's tyres any harder than we already have, so we can't break this train that he's got on them now. I wish Norris would pit again. If Norris pits, then we can break it on just Zhou Guanyu. We can be tactical, really. If anything, it's more beneficial to let Norris go at this point, and he's really been let go. What on earth happened there? I know I set Vettel to harvest for a bit, but still. Oh, we've got Ocon for company as well now. Our tyres are so much worse than Zhou's and Ocon's. So much worse. Alonso went on softs. Why? He's got to do 14 more laps. Oh, safety car would be lovely. Then we could all pit. And we're not lapped yet. I genuinely don't know what to do at this point. Sebastian's got 22% worth of hard tyres to keep it in a decent range. But he's only got 12 laps. And I think basically at 3 dots, you're going to lose about 2% a lap. So he's basically on the cusp as it is already.
We're not okay on fuel.
We're basically okay on fuel. It's minus 0.2 and there's 12 laps to go. We'll get back in range. We're fine. There goes Norris. But now Zhou and Ocon are in DRS range. At least Ocon and Zhou seem to be fighting each other. But there's no point trying to pull away from Zhou and Ocon because the pair of them then get the benefit of DRS launching onto the back of us and then getting our DRS as a result. So there's no point pulling a gap on either of them. We just have to entertain this fight for the remaining 12 laps. Ocon can start off here. We just have to entertain this fight. We've got a little bit of ERS. In fact, we might as well just use this as an opportunity to harvest a little bit. And maybe even save a little bit of tyres. We just sort of allow them to fight a little bit. Ugh, why is Stroll so bad? He's now 11 and a bit seconds behind Tsunoda. He was only 6 when he pitted. He's lost 5 seconds to Tsunoda in that period of the race. On the same tyre. And he's actually not gaining fuel back anywhere near as enough. Okay, don't harvest on this stretch, Seb. We'll harvest on the remainder of the lap, but we won't harvest here. Stay in the second. Don't lose the DRS. I mean, in fairness, we might as well not alarm ourselves with Stroll. We might as well just conserve a tiny bit fuel-wise there now. You're not fighting anyone, Stroll. You're in 16th. You're doing sod all. I need to do a tiny bit of deploy with Vettel because he's just... Vettel has just inexplicably dropped out of DRS range on this part of the straight. What? Well, there's a Williams in front of us. I mean, the Williams has bamboozled me there because I thought it was the Alpine. And now it's just completely blocked our approach. What are you doing, Williams man? Whichever one you are, Albon. I mean, you're not exactly putting yourselves in our good graces now, are you there? Pierre, you're in the driving seat for our second car now. Ugh, I harvested. And now I have to deploy because just misjudged it. I'm going to actually have to attack now. I'm actually going to have to attack to get back in range. Unbelievable. Although that Williams has just buggered Ocon a tiny bit there. I mean, we should just get him in a point where he just lets us straight past. Latifi cost me 2/10, 4/10, more than that because now I'm out of DRS range guaranteed. I'm 2 seconds out of DRS range now. Thanks, Williams. Thanks for ruining my entire chances of getting in the points. I can't get in this fight anymore. I have to push, ruin the tyres, and probably then lose out at the end anyway. Come on, Seb. Just get in the DRS range, and at the very least we can maybe save the tyres going forward. Ugh. It's so depressing. We had a chance. If Lance hadn't got in front of Vettel at the start, then this would be a completely different race. Vettel would have been further up to begin with. I mean, he's doing a good job actually getting in range now. Come on, Seb. In fact, he's sort of actually on par, but we are going to get into the 30% range. The line's not yet, and the DRS range isn't yet, but they just got more than us to begin with even before the DRS lines. We just can't do anything on the straight. We lose time on the straight. He's doing a good job in the rest of the lap. He might actually get in range by the end of the next lap, but by then it's too late. Not worth it. He can't get it. Might as well not risk any fuel. I need to go rebalanced here because mix catching. Oh, I've really got to balance the fuel here because, I mean, Lance doesn't really matter at this point. But Lance has fallen 18 seconds off Norris.
5 more laps.
No safety cars. 100% safety car chance in Azerbaijan. No safety cars. The fuel... Well, I suppose that's a consolation. The fuel was going to screw us over eventually anyway. Gasly's got some good points again as well. Magnussen's getting 2. That's okay. 3 laps to go. 3.5 laps to go. He's on 46% tyre-wise. We're not too awful on that front. Stroll might be able to push a bit on those hards, but it doesn't really matter for him. He's kind of not having a race anymore. He just sort of exists in the background. How on conserve is Vettel not doing better on fuel? He's not gaining any fuel on conserve. And now Mick's got him. Unbelievable. And Mick's dropped him. What? Sorry, what is happening here? His tyres haven't gone off yet. Really? Norris on the softs I kind of understand just going straight past, but Vettel just did a 151 because he was conserving fuel. That's how much conserving fuel does. A 151. 3 seconds that does. I mean, now he's all right, but although he's now out of DRS range on Norris somehow. Well, we better make sure we stay 14th here. What a depressing end. I mean, at least I feel less bad at... Shut up, Stroll. At least I feel less bad about the Ocon-Zhou situation because It looks like 10th was never in the cards anyway because of the fuel situation. I wasn't expecting to be that difficult to conserve the fuel. Normally, just on normal, it conserves fuel a little bit.
We have low battery.
But no. I think if you go attacking even on wearing tyres, you do gain a little bit of time. So maybe we should have attacked on the tyres towards the end a little bit more, but 13th v 14th is not going to make any difference in the long run. Probably. Stroll 16th, and he's only 16th because Alonso crashed. A brief flash of hope in Miami has been quickly dashed repeatedly as Vettel crosses the line in 14th and 3 seconds off Mick Schumacher.
Last lap, you can push.
There's one more lap.
Tyres.
I forgot we weren't lapped. We're nearly lapped. Actually, Tsunoda wasn't lapped either.
Max Verstappen.
Sebastian Vettel is on conserve still and still isn't gaining fuel. Stroll was lapped. Oh, Vettel could lose this. I mean, he's doing okay in this section with Yuki, but where's the finish line in respect to the DRS line? I think Seb pushing the tyres is sort of helping him here, because Tsunoda's tyres are in a similar position. We won't be able to go balanced for the remainder of this just because of that fuel. I don't care if the tyres are getting warm, Seb. I need you to just drop Yuki and guarantee 14th. I mean, we can't be worse than 15th, which is the payout, but prize at stake with one of the AlphaTauris here. Otherwise, we're only better than Ricciardo, who is the only person behind us in qualifying, so that wasn't a Williams. Albon actually finished behind Latifi. Props to Latifi there. Still a full minute off Daniel Ricciardo, but still. Last one's across the line.
Check it flag.
Race full of struggle.
Sebastian Vettel with a comfortable result for his team here.
Yes, there's no doubt that they have what it takes. I can't wait to see which direction they go in for the next race.
Probably
The
backwards.
race
For the next round in Formula One, the teams are travelling to the circuit Gilles Villeneuve for the Canadian Grand Prix in Montreal.
I realised at some point I turned the camera off for a replay and then never turned it back on. Apologies. Not that you care, probably. Anyway, Esteban Ocon, 1 point. Magnussen, 2 points. Pierre Gasly, 4 points. Seb only really jumps Tsunoda because Alonso is the reason why Stroll's got a place. All that means that Kevin Magnussen gets slightly further away in the drivers. Pierre's already significantly ahead anyway. As for the top, Max Verstappen won a race there, so that's brought him into the championship fight with Leclerc, Perez and Sainz. In fact, that pretty much went in the order that made things that little bit more interesting. And yeah, Haas for 2 more points. Still not massively running away. McLaren are the ones in danger of finishing 9th though, if we actually get something useful. I love the fact he says, you can't see it behind my head. Race is finished, as if anyone ever retires a car mechanically. Literally nobody has not finished a race as an entire team yet. There aren't any mechanical retirements, it seems. 300 points isn't bad. It's not great though. Once again, the same payouts. Below expectation. 14th and 16th isn't below expectation. 15th and 16th is expectation. We won 8th. 15th and 16th is the 8th best team. We technically did 1 position better than that. A little weird. But it's not long until Canada, and it's not long until we say goodbye to Lance Stroll. Nothing good to happen in between by the looks of things, so I'll see you for Canada next time out. And, well, let's prepare the leaving party for Mr. 1 Lance Stroll. I'll see you for that one. If you enjoyed this, somehow, do give it a like, comment, subscribe. It helps the algorithms and all that jazz. Until next time, ta-ra.